Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today's video comes to you by Youtuber Jayesh Sharma. In the last time-lapse video of the land speeder, Jayesh wanted to know my process for creating the final animation of the asset, or in other words, the turntable of the asset. And so in this video, I'm going to show you all how I get that done. Alright, and so without further ado, I will just get started. What you're seeing here is a model I worked on here recently. I'll be posting a time-lapse video of the creation of this model. It is essentially the RV controller from Back to Our Future. I saw a model of it on Pinterest. I came across it. I thought it'd be pretty dope to recreate. So the next time-lapse video will be going through the process of modeling this, but for this video I'll be showing you all how I set up the turntable in Unreal Engine. So as you can see, I already have my camera set up, already have my light set up, my background and everything like that, and I'm just gonna jump right into rendering that turntable. Just as you create a level when you are creating your scene for Unreal Engine, you're going to want to create something called a level sequencer to create our turntable. So down below in your content drawer, you're going to right click in an empty space and you're going to go up here to level sequence. Now I'm just going to name this controller turntable. Now that we have our level sequence in here and named, I'm just going to double click it. So when you first double click on this level sequence, you won't really see anything. You'll want to hit content drawer and you'll kind of see sequencer as a new tab here at the bottom. And I'm just going to find where I can expand this up to look at it closer. Okay, perfect. So as you can see in our level sequencer, it gives us a subset of frames. It's telling us that our frames per second is 30 frames per second. First thing that we're going to need in our turntable is the camera that is associated with our turntable. So here I have a camera for movement just so I can kind of move around and show you guys, but I also have a SynCam actor that is set up for the first frame of my turntable. I'm going to set it to that just so I can see what's kind of going on. And then over here in the outliner, I'm going to look for that SynCam actor and I'm going to drag it down here in this empty space of the level sequencer and you'll kind of see it populate. If I take this kind of red stick and drag along the frames that were provided there, you'll kind of see there's no movement. We haven't set anything up yet. At first I'm just going to tidy this up over here by pressing this arrow. I just want to close all of the subset menus that come with the SynCam actor, and the next thing that we need to drag into the level sequencer is the actual model itself. So I'm going to find that in my outliner and I'm going to drag it down onto the left hand side in the level sequencer. You'll see that populate as well. I'm going to want to determine how long or how many frames I want for my video to be. So usually I stick with 8 seconds if I really want the viewers to see the details of my turntable. Know that right now this is in 30 frames per second. I'm going to be using DaVinci Resolve, and I know that DaVinci Resolve is 24 frames per second. So I'm just going to change this to 24 frames per second. Now, knowing that I want 8 seconds, 8 times 24 is 192 frames. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this number down here to 192, enter. And I'm going to drag this out to, we see 192, and I'm going to drag this red one out until we see it pretty much snap to the end. Okay, so now we have a total of 192 frames. I'm actually gonna do like 195 just so I can have some space down there to see what I'm doing. Okay, cool. So now we want to create the animation for the model. So I am going to hit this arrow over here next to the transform, and then under rotation and the yaw, I am going to click this little plus sign inside of a diamond, which is basically going to add a key to this model on frame 0. I'm going to do that for my camera as well. Okay, so now that we have the two keyframes set up for both our camera and our model down here below, I'm going to drag this red, I'm going to drag it to 192, our last frame. For the yaw, I'm just going to start dragging just to make sure I'm going in the right direction, which I am. I'm just going to drag it all the way to 360, or I can type in 360, hit and enter, and then again, keyframe it. I'm going to also go up to my camera transform and keyframe that as well. All right, now I'm just going to double check that my animation is working. Yeah, this looks good. Or I can go ahead and press play down here and it will play. The next thing I want to do is actually want to select the keyframes or the dots for the keys down here below. And I'm going to hover over one of those keys. I'm going to right click and I'm going to select linear. That's going to change all of our keys to linear so that as the model is turning, it's turning in a linear behavior. It's not starting out slow and then speeding up. It's not starting out fast and slowing down. It's just the exact same speed during the entire turntable. Go ahead and select this thing down here. And then we are going to go to unsaved configuration and we're going to set up these settings. If you like your images to be exported as a JPEG, you can keep JPEG. I am going to delete JPEG and I'm actually going to use PNG. And then the next setting I'm going to add is anti-aliasing. For the anti-aliasing, I'm going to make sure I select override anti-aliasing. Spatial sample count, I'm just going to change to 4. Temporal sample count, I'm going to change to 16. These are pretty high, you really don't need this. And then I am going to change my anti-aliasing method to fast approximate anti-aliasing. I've just found this to have sharper render images for me. I'm going to go down to output, and I need to switch the directory of where my images are going to be saved. So I'm actually going to find where I want to save that on my desktop. I'm going to go ahead and change my output resolution if I don't want 1920 by 1080. That is my default. I usually keep it there, but you can change that. Go down to custom playback range. I switch my start frame to 0 because that's where it started, and my aim frame I switch to 192. And that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and accept and then render local. So this is going to warm up for a bit, then it's going to render, and once that's done, I will hop right back into this. Okay, so I did need to pause the render because I did start to notice something as the render was progressing. And if you take a close look at these images, you kind of realize or start noticing that there is some blurring going on. And I did use a sun sky for this and had the whole volumetric cloud setup. Not sure if that comes particularly with that kind of light setup. But one thing that I do have in my scene is a post-process volume, and that post-process volume basically just controls the exposure of all of my lights in the scene. And I like using this because it doesn't, once I get my lights kind of how I want the achieved look to be, like I kind of just want an overall increase or decrease to the brightness of the scene, and so the post-process volume kind of helps me with that. But there's also something called a motion blur in the post-process volume. You can actually type motion or start typing motion here in this search bar and you'll see motion blur. If you check this amount and you change this amount to 0, I think by default it's 0.5, it will remove that kind of blurry effect that's happening in your render. So just food for thought, motion blur could be affecting the overall render. Okay, well anyways, the render has finished. We have all 192 frames rendered and ready to be put into our video software. As I mentioned, I will be, or if I mentioned, I actually don't remember if I mentioned that, I will be using DaVinci Resolve, a free tool, free video software. Here we are in DaVinci Resolve. I'm just going to double click this untitled project to get a new project going. I'm going to change the location, and then I'm just going to give it a name. and create. Alright, so here we are in DaVinci Resolve. To get all 192 images dropped into DaVinci Resolve as a sequenced video, we are going to need to make sure that DaVinci Resolve is ready for that. So in order to do that, on this first media tab, you are going to see three dots. You're going to click those three dots. You're going to go to frame display mode. You want to make sure this is on sequence. It may be on auto by default, but you'll want to make sure that this is checked to sequence. On your desktop, you're going to go ahead and select all 192 frames. You're going to drag that down here in the master media pool. You'll see this one little clip pop up down here at the bottom. If you hover over it, you will see your turntable. In order to edit this video, you're going to go to the third tab. On this third tab, you will see your video appear in the top right hand corner. Let me actually make this a little bigger. And I'm just going to take that and drag it down here into the timeline. I will scrub in just to kind of zoom into this video. And if you press play, you will see your 360 video created. The only thing left to do is deliver to receiver. So on this tab as well is where you can make different edits. So similar to my last time-lapse video, on the turntable I had kind of like a little recording effect on it. So if you go here to the effects tab and you go down to effects and scrub down video camera, yes, and if you drag that, you can change the effects of this effect over here on the right hand side. You can change the battery level, which I thought was cool. You can also change the overall color. So I believe in my last video it looked a little bit as if I changed the opacity, so really I just darkened the color, pressed OK, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you can, you know, export it here on the last tab. This little cool little airplane thing, I always think that's cool. After you've edited everything, you'll want to go here to browse and change the location and where this final video will save. I usually change my format to MP4. I change my codec to H264. Add to render queue. Oh, of course it's going to tell me, but it'll say, you know, I'll add it to the render queue. It'll jump over here into the render queue, and you can render all, and that is how you create a turntable using free DaVinci Resolve and free Unreal Engine. So thank you if you've hung in there with me today and watched this entire video. Kudos to you. Peace.